In a single moment, the silence descends. It's the kind of quiet that you can feel in your bones, an eerie absence of noise. The constant ping of notifications, the hum of 1,000 online conversations, the familiar feeling of connection, all of it is gone. In a single, silent moment, every social media platform on the planet, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, vanishes forever. It's not a temporary blackout or a technical glitch. It's a permanent, irreversible change that would fundamentally alter our world. This is a journey into a world that has lost its digital voice. It's a story of a humanity that has to relearn how to connect, how to communicate, and how to live without the constant noise of the online world. It's a look at a world that is quieter, more private, and perhaps, more real. But it is also a world that has lost a powerful tool for change, a world that has lost a voice for the voiceless. The immediate chaos, the first 48 hours the moment the social media platforms vanish, the world would not fall into chaos. But it would be thrown into a state of shock and disbelief. The initial reaction would be to check your Wi-Fi, to restart your phone, to call your service provider. But as the minutes turn into hours, the realization would sink in. The platforms are gone. Forever. The first to feel the impact would be the influencers, the brands, and the businesses that rely on social media for their existence. The influencer economy, a multi-billion-dollar industry, would vanish overnight. Brands would lose their most effective way of reaching their audience, and countless businesses would be left scrambling to find a new way to market their products. The stock market, which is so tied to the digital world, would collapse, as investors try to make sense of a world without the platforms that have become a fundamental part of the economy. But the real chaos would be in our personal lives. The millions of people who rely on social media to stay in touch with friends and family would be left in the dark. The virtual communities that have been built around shared interests and hobbies would vanish. The digital photo albums, the memories, and the messages would be gone forever. People would be forced to return to a more traditional way of life. The phone call would make a comeback. Letters would be written. And for the first time in a generation, people would be forced to reconnect with the real world, with the people around them. The long-term consequences, the new society, the initial shock of the eternal silence would give way to a slow, grinding process of adaptation. The world would not become a better or a worse place, but a different one, with a new set of rules and a new kind of social structure. The return to real relationships in a world without social media, our relationships would be fundamentally changed. The concept of a social media friend would become a thing of the past. Our friendships would be based on real-world interactions, on shared experiences, and on the time and effort we put into them. We would no longer be able to scroll through a person's life, and we would be forced to have real conversations to find out what is going on in their lives. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, would vanish, and we would be forced to find joy and contentment in our own lives, not in the curated lives of others. The new political and social landscape, the loss of social media would have a profound impact on the political and social landscape. The digital town square, which has been used for everything from political debate to social justice movements, would be gone. The spread of misinformation and disinformation would be harder, as the algorithms that spread them would no longer exist. But at the same time, the ability to organize and mobilize a protest, to give a voice to the voiceless, and to create a global conversation would be gone. The political landscape would become more local, more focused on the community, and less on a global stage. The debate would be more personal, more face-to-face, and perhaps, more civil. The new economy, the economy of a world without social media, would be completely different. The influencer economy, as we know it, would be gone. Brands would be forced to find new ways to market their products. The advertising industry would have to go back to the basics of newspapers, television, and radio. The focus would be on direct marketing and word of mouth. The brands that would succeed in this new world would be those that could build a real relationship with their customers, not a digital one. The value of a person would be based on their skills and their ability to connect with people in the real world, not on their number of followers. The philosophical and psychological impact, the greatest consequence of a world without social media would be psychological. Our sense of self, which has been so tied to our digital identity, would be shattered. We would be forced to ask ourselves, who are we without the filters, without the likes, without the constant validation of others? The loss of social media would be a shock to our psyche. The constant dopamine hits we get from a new like or a new follower would be gone. We would be forced to find a new way to get our self-worth, a new way to feel connected. But at the same time, the mental health crisis that has been so tied to social media would also vanish. The constant social comparison, the pressure to be perfect, and the cyberbullying would be gone. We would be forced to find contentment and happiness in our own lives, not in the curated lives of others. This is a journey to a world of a new kind of human, one that is more private, more connected to the people around them, and more in touch with the real world. A world that is not a better or a worse place, but a different one. Do you think a world without social media would be a more peaceful or a more hateful place? Would our friendships be more meaningful in a world without social media, or would we lose a powerful tool for connection? Would you be happier in a world without social media, or would you feel a sense of loss for your digital self? This timeline forces us to confront the fact that our digital lives have become a fundamental part of who we are. It is a story of a human race that has to learn to survive without the very thing that made it great. It is a world where the past is not a memory, but a future. If you want to keep exploring the what ifs and see how our world could be different, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Timeline Shift, and get ready for our next adventure.